Three. Okay. Hi, I'm Corey Vakil.
I'm Addison Cyber.
I'm Nubia Zamudio.
And we're representing Richfield High School for the International Business Competition.
Our 20 minutes of prep time start now.
Okay. Addison, you want to read the prompt?
Yep, I'll read the prompt here. Okay, so background information. The competitors are a team of international business consultants who have been asked to present a short overview of international business to a group of international business graduate students at a nearby university. The target audience is graduate students, judges, who are either currently working in the field of international business or plan to enter the workforce soon. The task is to explain to the graduate students how the management functions, planning, organizing, influencing, and controlling affect international operations and production. This should be explained in the context of establishing how the management factors can help to better identify and control the risks associated with international business, such as commercial and political activities. The competitors should also discuss strategies to minimize these risks. And the scenario here, the context the competitors find themselves in is to develop a presentation and to interact with the group of graduate students during the presentation. The competitors need to develop a presentation that includes details about how to clearly distinguish between the roles of agents, wholesalers, retailers, freight forwarders, export companies, trade companies, and custom brokers. The work will be judged by how well the competitors communicate with the group of graduate students, their professionalism during the presentation, and the quality of the information provided. And then the objectives of the case studies, the competitors must address the following during the role play. Define terms such as inflation, gross domestic product, purchasing power, parity balance of trade, foreign debt, and cost of living. Describe the decision-making process, opportunity costs, and scarcity as they relate to international business situations. Discuss the effect of literacy level, technology, natural resource availability, and infrastructure on the levels of countries' economic development. Identify the impact of geography on international businesses, including factors such as climate, time zones, distance, topography, and social, economic, and natural resources. Identify how the management functions, planning, organizing, influencing, and controlling affect international operations and productions. Identify the difference in the roles of agents, wholesalers, retailers, freight forwarders, export companies, trading companies, and custom brokers. And finally, identify risks associated with international business activities, such as commercial, political, and foreign exchange, and discuss the strategies to minimize the risk. All right.
Wow.
16 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Here. I think we should start by distributing what we feel each person is strong with, what we got,
right,
and just divide that.
Okay. I can take the things about adapting to their technology literacy, economic development.
Right.
I can take management functions.
Yeah. That's Nubia. I'll do risk.
Okay.
That goes along with kind of the other stuff. Scarcity,
I think I could define some of the terms.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking at these and I know.
Inflation.
Yeah, it said inflation, gross domestic product, purchasing power, balance of trade, foreign debt, and cost of living.
You got those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can come up with a definition for those.
Okay. So I know we're teaching the students. Do you think that once we kind of give an overview, also, I guess our intro will probably take 30 seconds. Then we move into quickly defining those. Hopefully we can be done with that by a minute 30.
Yep.
We'll do it quickly, and we can integrate them too. And then do you think once Nubia, so we'll have Addison talk about the terms, just to introduce them.
Right.
Then do we want Nubia to go into the management functions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that works.
We come back to risk control, and then from there, should we connect it to like a real world situation? So like pick a country and
Yeah, like a real
that
world.
help. Yeah.
Okay.
Like applying really just like sets it in.
What are some countries we're familiar with?
There's the BRICS countries. The
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah.
Brazil, Russia, India, maybe.
Yeah.
I think either that or China.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, China.
I feel like the Indian government is a little more straightforward.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
as an example.
Then I'll transition from risk to India. Then how do we want to, and then Nubia, do you want to kind of try to see if you can connect that back into like establishing those relations with the different people?
Like people?
Yeah, like retailers, wholesalers.
Yeah, sure. I want to just like go over quickly so I make sure that I know what like everything is and I don't like so basically like we know what agents are. Wholesaler is just like
the person that gets you the products in a large amount.
Right. Like big shop. Yeah. Then the retailers, and then the freight forwarders.
So freight forwarders are the people who are managing shipping. So if it's shipping from a different country or just a different location, and also usually doing any sort of shipping by water is just the cheapest way to go. So in terms of managing, like, I'm not sure how specific we need to go in terms of cost. But knowing that we are working in a low, like if we use India, we are using a lower cost of living country. So I guess you would want to minimize it because like, you know, if your shipping costs $100, we can't, like, it's not like the people there can afford like a $500 item, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And then just moving on from that quickly, like export companies, we got it, like water is cheaper. And then custom brokers are just like a private assistant organization that can like help with the federal requirements, right? Or like just making sure we stay like within the legal boundaries of it.
I think so. I'm not too.
I think it is.
I
hope it is. Okay. So we're going management functions, operations. I got that. Then we're going risks. Then like a specific scenario. So we're going with India.
Yeah,
let's do India.
Oh, wait. And then, before I start with the management, Addison, you're doing
He's explaining this.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, what am I doing?
The definitions of like inflation, GPD, you know.
When do we want to start the definitions? Do we want that to be?
So I was thinking like once we introduce ourselves again, we'll say we would now like to present like, okay, are we calling it a lesson?
Actually, I think we should like be like
what should I call it?
So we understand like we've prepared a presentation to help you better understand, or to help graduate students of international business better understand like so and so
working in an international environment.
Right.
And then I'll say I'm going to pass it to Addison, and he's going to establish some basic
like some keywords to know.
I'll say like factors to be aware of when you're going to a different country.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I'll define those.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on definitions of any of them?
Yeah. So GDP, that's like per country. It's called it's what?
Gross domestic product.
Yes. Gross domestic. Should I say that out? Should I say GDP or gross domestic product?
Just say gross domestic product to save time. So like we know what it means.
Right. Okay. So what do you want me to highlight from that?
Cost of living.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That influence the cost of
So
living.
how it affects like cost of living.
I think parity balance of trade can just be quick because we don't know what type of company this is.
Right.
And so we don't know how much exports and imports are like they're looking into that.
Okay.
Inflation is definitely important because you need to be aware of what the economic status is. Like, are things going for cheaper? Are they going higher
Yeah.
at the time?
So sort of talk about how like the money can fluctuate high and low.
Yeah.
Do you know by any chance, either of you guys know if what like balanced trade India is, if we like apply it to India, like if it's a surplus or not? Like, are they exporting more than importing? Like, do you know?
I would guess they're exporting more just because of like all their laborers, but I don't.
Right.
Because we could add that to the balance of trade.
Okay.
And
Also,
it would make it like
I think it's parity and not like parity. Okay. So then once we do that, we go to our India discussion back to management. There's so many things to go over.
Yeah. Okay, so after we discuss India, like a specific example,
how do we
have to go back to the climate, time zone distance, all that?
I can talk about like time zone and stuff like that in the risk management.
Within the risk management,
yeah,
we can add the whole like the foreign marketing P's and knowing the marketing P's and just like knowing like the language, basic social norms, you know, like
knowing the context of the culture.
Right, so that advertisement doesn't like, you know, it's still a risk not knowing like the culture of where you're going to be presenting stuff.
Since every place is different, you don't want to make a huge
and I guess we can say like there's risks no matter what country you're working in, just because it's not your home country anymore, like you're going out of it,
but minimize those as much as possible.
Right. I guess,
knowledge.
Should I say like respect and like,
of course,
establishing trust, like just like core values that you might overlook but are very important.
Right.
I don't know what we're supposed to say about typography. Like that's a little random. I guess we can just like touch against that in terms of just saying like we know it's connected in terms of I
feel like it should have something to do with like you know how it's easier or more difficult to like pass goods based on the geography of your country. Like if you're in mainland or if you're in an island, like that influences a lot your like balance of trade. So we can touch upon that if you guys want.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And then so after I talk about risk, I'm going to say like I'll say overall there's like a lot of factors that could play into your risk, so you should be like knowledgeable on your country, be informed. And then it just will come like as you like are there working there. And then should I say I'm now going to turn it back to Addison to conclude our presentation and like reinforce the main points, because I don't think we're going to be able to talk more than like once or twice.
Because it's only 7 minutes. Also, we have 6 minutes left to prepare. Just to put that out there. But yeah, concluding, I guess I can just sort of restate. I feel like it's really important to talk about like how difficult it can be, since in international business, you can study, you can try all you like, but at the end of the day, you're always going to be a foreigner.
Yeah,
so you really have to know these things. You have to know the culture, and then that we'll go back to like the terms and not go through all of them, but like quick recap on everything.
And I feel like a little thing we should add is like trial and error is a big thing, but don't necessarily do it for yourself. Like look at things that hasn't worked for other people.
Right.
Exactly.
Like look out for your
With
country.
Plenty of examples, other
Like
companies.
if they've messed up somewhere, don't do that. And just
So-
build off of that. Yeah.
So Addison, how long do you think you need to do that? Because I will turn it back to you at like a specific time, because there are a lot of parts that like we could go on to if we feel like we have extra time.
Right.
So like when we're down to like 1:30, should I turn it back to you? Or 2 minutes?
I don't think I'm going to take that long to close up.
Okay.
So we could
I think
do.
it's probably gonna be like 25 seconds.
No. Addison concludes things really well. He like
Well, no. I don't want to like drag anything out or anything. I think it's more important to say our stuff, because my conclusion is just going to be like sort of saying what we talked about so they don't forget. Like,
okay.
It's just like a summary, because we're gonna give them a lot of information. It's just to like tie it together.
So at like 1:20, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah. Now, do you want me to give like because I have the clock.
Mhm.
Do you want me to like give a one or like a do something?
It was give us like a 1:30.
One. Okay.
Like 1:30 before it's over.
How do we do that though? I
mean-
have a clock here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
We could all set up a timer, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing. I mean, maybe you can like, I don't know if I'll be looking at you if I'm like, if I'm focused, but maybe you could, I don't know, like what could you do that?
Yeah, I just set a stopwatch, and we'll just all start at the same time, and that way we all kind of have in mind where we are.
Okay. And we
right.
can always stop like before 7 minutes if we feel like we've gotten everything. And
Right.
then, Addison, when you're done, I guess be sure to say like, thank you for whatever.
Yeah. Thank you for your consideration.
No, like thank
we're
you
not,
for
like,
taking the time
Because
to
we're
listen.
doing it as a role play.
Oh my god, there's Okay, so for judge questions, do we answer those within the thing? Within the presentation?
Oh.
Or do you want us to address those separately? Like
Oh,
at
no,
the very, very bottom, there's judges questions.
We're basically doing that.
We're basically answering that, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
we're
just wanna
talking
check.
about risk. You're talking about the management. So
Okay.
I think we're fine. It's indirect. I would say like thank you for listening to our presentation. We wish you the best as you embark on your international business journey. Like you can make it.
Yep.
They're like students. So
How are we doing on time, Addison?
We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Ah.
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Planning, organizing, influencing, controlling. Okay. So planning is just like, being vocal. Organizing is leading. Influencing is essentially like giving advice, being like, this could work, this couldn't, da da da. And then
Yep.
controlling is just, again, like leadership. Okay, yeah, I got it.
How long do you think you're gonna like need, just so I can like kind of know when it's gonna be like time to turn it over? And then you'll be like, Corey, I'm gonna turn it over, right? Like
How
will
long?
you say like I'm now gonna give it back?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
what's
sure
the
exactly
order
how-
that we're doing everything? Like, who's gonna introduce the whole?
Okay. I introduce our names and where we're from. Then I'll say like we're gonna give a presentation on, what do I say? Factors to be aware of.
Yep.
And how to just like attain the best possible results when working in a different country.
Okay.
Then I'll say I'm going to pass it to Addison. He's going to
And I'm gonna
give you a rundown.
And you're gonna do your thing.
Certain,
Yep, I'm gonna go. I've
You're
got
gonna do your thing.
terms to define, all that. I want to make sure I've got this all. GDP tossed about how it affects like the cost of living, how it's the main influence of country. Inflation, talk about how money fluctuates. Purchasing power. That's just like, is that of the country or of the consumers?
purchasing power is
It's of the consumers, right?
because the consumers are in the country.
Yes. So
And
like
then-
you figure out the.
I
Yeah.
think we have to start. Addison, will you turn it over to Nubia and say now she'll start with management functions?
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh,
We
okay.
have 30 seconds
Wait.
left.
Okay, we're fine. Just go down the list. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. This is impromptu.
We're fine.
And once my alarm goes off, I'll set it up for 7 minutes, and I'll give you a thumbs up to start. Okay, Corey?
Perfect.
Okay. Because I'm gonna hit start on my timer.
Let's trust each other, right? We're here for a reason. We got it. All right. Okay.
All right. Our 20 minutes of preparation time is finished, and we're going to begin our 7 minutes of presentation time now.
Hi, I'm Corey Vakil,
I'm Addison Cybern.
I'm Nubia Zamudio.
and we're representing Ridgefield High School's chapter of FBLA, and we will be presenting about international business. And we're going to give you a presentation about the factors to be aware of and how to manage risk when you work in an international country. So I'm going to hand it off to Addison, and he is going to give you a rundown on some of the terms and how they impact the global business.
All right. Thank you, Corey. So we want to start off by defining a few terms. It's really important to set the groundwork and the foundation for anything you do. So we've got a few things we want to clarify. GDP, gross domestic product. That's basically for an individual country, that's going to give you so much information. You're going to know everything about them. It affects cost of living, tells you, just gives that great look into what that country is going to be capable of with their purchasing power, what they spend, and it gives you more of a look on what you're going to be expecting if you're going to be selling in that country. Inflation, we all know money changes a lot, and the value of the dollar could be up one day and down the next. So you got to know these things for your country, especially since you're going to be dealing with currency changes, euro to dollar to pound, all these different things. We're going to talk about purchasing power. Basically, you want to know what your consumer can purchase. Obviously, you're not going to want to sell something like fancy jewelry to a poorer country. You have to know your audience and what they can and can't purchase. The balance of trade, imports and exports, very important. You're going to want to know if a country is more favorable for imports or exports, because this is all going to be very important when you analyze that country and sort of begin to figure everything out. Foreign debt, you got to keep that in mind. You don't want to go into a country that just isn't going to help you. You have to choose wisely. You have to be able to know what the steps to take are and what to avoid. So you have to look at foreign debt, because as sad as it is, some of those countries you're just going to have to steer away from. The cost of living, every country has a different cost of living. You've got higher, you've got lower. You're going to need to know that, because once again, it comes down to knowing your consumer and knowing your customer. So now that we've got these terms out of the way, I hope that can inform us for the rest. And I'm going to pass it to Nubia, who's going to continue.
So I'm going to be talking about the management functions that you need to know of and be aware of when doing international business and global trading and all that. So when managing a company globally, there needs to be a lot of communication. You need to have a web. You need to be able to communicate freely and in like a very informed manner with all of your colleagues. And at the same time, when you are serving leadership, you have to receive information. You can't just block out what these people are telling you or recommending to you. You have to have open ears as much as you are leading them. You also need to maintain standards and quality control. If you are selling to a country that has very high standards or you're going specifically for a target audience that is very high on maintenance, you cannot be giving them low quality products. You need to be able to know your audience, know their standards, keep your standards and reputation as a company all across the world. And that relates to trust and making people believe you're a trustworthy investment and that you're a trustworthy company and they will keep buying from you. And that essentially creates a loyalty between you and a customer. So that's really, really important. And that's why planning and organizing and influencing, controlling like all of your employees and your reputation as a company is really, really important when doing business globally. So now I'm going to pass it to Corey, and she's going to discuss some of the risks involved in international trade.
Yeah, so like Nubia and Addison have discussed, it's really important to know your audience. When you're going into a new country, there's a lot of risk that could occur. There's culture shock. That's one thing. As an employee going to a new country, you need to be aware that culture shock is something you will most likely experience, but you also need to move past it and be able to adapt. There's also, depending on what country you're going to, you need to know your audience and think about like the 4 P's of marketing. They kind of apply to whatever you're doing. You need to know your economy and your audience, and be aware of like their technological advancements. Be aware of how developed their economy is versus a country that might be a lot poorer. Also, things like time zone. I think we forget about the small things that factor into working in a different country, but you need to essentially have a really well-established plan and be able to work with your everyone else who is involved in whatever sort of business that you are running. So yeah, I'm going to turn it back to Addison. He is going to conclude this.
All right. So to get this all wrapped up, I want to start just by saying this world is a massive place. And by getting this interest into international business, you're just opened up to a whole new world of opportunities. I really hope we were able to give you a little bit of insight, some of the things you're going to want to know, some of the things you're going to want to avoid. Because unlike one country, you have this access to a whole library, a whole catalog filled with different people of different beliefs, different ethics. And despite the challenges, it's really just going to be an incredible experience because you're not just selling, you're learning these people, you're learning these cultures. And that's why international business can just do so much. So we thank you all for your time. We really hope you learned something, and we hope you take care in the world of international business. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes our presentation.